Hi, I'm Jenny Brown. Welcome to this week's MFB News. I hope you're all doing incredibly well, that you've had a great week and you had a really good Jubilee weekend. Croatia, Dubrovnik particularly, didn't disappoint. We had a great time. If you haven't been, I'd really recommend it. It is absolutely beautiful. Coming up this week, what have we got for you? We've got our usual update on lender changes. Then I'm going to share with you a report which I read recently, which is really interesting, talking about if you're going to invest on the Crossrail line, which stations are seeing the strongest yield. And then lastly, we're going to take a really good look at landlord confidence, landlord sentiment, and really see how your peers are feeling at the moment with regards to rental yields, tenant demand, and so on. So lots of great stuff for you this week. Okay, now, in anticipation of the base rate going up next week, there has been another flurry of lender repricing. So we have seen in the last week increases from the Family Building Society, HSBC, Principality, Capital Home Loans, State Bank of India, Land Bay, Clydesdale, the Mortgage Works SPV rates, they went up by 38 basis points. The Nottingham have increased their rates by up to 80 basis points. BM Solutions have increased rates by up to 0.19% on their 2-year fixes and 0.35% on their 5-year fixes. And Zephyr Home Loans will be repricing next week. We've also had advance notice that a few other lenders are going to be repricing in the coming days. What they haven't done is officially pull their products just yet. Now, I wanted to just explain briefly how it works from a kind of end user experience when lenders are putting rates. So what normally happens is we will get an email from a lender saying that we're withdrawing our rates and applications have to be submitted either by close of business today or, for those who are quite generous, close of business tomorrow. We don't tend to get more than the next business day as advance warning. Now, in order to be able to secure rates for clients, what we need to be able to do is submit the application in full to the lender. So what that means is doing a decision in principle, then pushing that through to a full application and also paying any fees that are due. At that point, once we've got the application on their system, the rate is secured. They can't just sort of take it away from you. Now, there are some exceptions to this. So some lenders actually will secure the rate for you from agreement in principle, and some lenders just from submission, even if no fees have been paid. But if you are thinking about taking a mortgage in the coming weeks, obviously the sooner the better, because we're still seeing rates sort of, escalating. Just know that's kind of where you need to get to book the funds in for you. Okay, so where is this leaving us then? So in terms of pricing and where things now sit, so personal 2-year fixed rates from 1.94, 5-year rates from 2.25, 7 years 3.36. It's a bit of an outlier actually, just because there aren't many personal 7-year fixed rates available. So that's why the pricing there is quite high. So it's not that that's not reflective of really where pricing should be in terms of swap rates. It's just that there aren't that many of them available. 10-year fixed rates from 2.45. Now, 10-year fixed rates, I think I've touched on this previously, it's quite interesting. So we rarely see landlords looking for 10-year fixed rates because traditionally they've just said that the rates are just too high. But actually, if you look at the difference in margins in personal name borrowing at the moment, 5-year fixed 2.25, 10-year fixed 2.45%. I mean, there's got to be a school of thought that says that actually that's not a bad idea. And definitely we're seeing a massive upswing in people definitely asking about 10-year fixed rates and, in some cases, people actually going ahead with them. Now, in terms of the limited company space, where are we there? So 2-year fixed rates from 2.44, 5-year from 2.79, 7-year from 3.37, and 10-year from 3.54%. So, actually, look, it's really difficult, isn't it? Because it feels expensive when you've been quoted rates of 1 point something, limited company 2.55, 2.99. But actually, I can't reiterate enough, years and years ago, I remember saying to somebody, look, if you can get a 5-year fixed rate at less than 5%, then you've got yourself a really good deal. And that was at a time when the kind of world was quite normal. So this is pre-credit crisis, pre-COVID, pre-crazy inflation, all that kind of stuff, just at a point when interest rates sat at a fairly kind of normal level in historic terms. So actually, while it is a shocker, if you're used to paying a rate of 2% and suddenly you're getting quoted a rate of 3.5%, that almost doubles your payments. I do understand that can feel very expensive. But actually, in terms of the broader picture and what is a normal interest rate, when we're looking at 5-year fixed rates at 2.25 and 2.79 respectively, actually the rates are still very, very competitive. Now, the other thing I just wanted to share with you in terms of lenders this week is we have seen a piece of lending policy change from our friends at Keystone. They have increased their maximum loan to value to 85%. Okay, so sitting around that, there's some conditions. So first of all, the maximum loan amount is £500,000. And the other thing is this is available on standard properties only, so no HMOs, no multi-units. However, you can have this through a limited company as well as individual names. Keystone are a really great lender, very much a specialist lender, so no maximum number of properties in the background, no minimum income requirement, can lend to SPVs, trading companies, layered companies, day one remortgages, all those lovely things that we really, really like. So to see them bring out an 85% loan to value product at the moment is really, really commendable. The reason this is particularly interesting is lenders don't tend to increase their exposure to loan to values if they're expecting property prices to come down. They would actually do the reverse. So what's really, really interesting for me is that at this moment in time where things are kind of, I guess, for some people hanging in the balance in terms of where property prices are going to go, the fact that Keystone have actually pushed out their loan to value to make them one of the only lenders in the market at 85% loan to value really sort of says that, or expresses their confidence in terms of the housing market going forwards. Okay, now a piece of research has been released by Revolution Brokers, who have looked into which Crossrail stations are currently making the best investment for buy-to-let landlords based on the average rental yields for each station within the postcode areas. Now, I found this really interesting actually, just because I think, landlords are always quite interested in yield. So look, here you go. So the highest yielding station is Customs House, which registers an average rental yield of 4.9%. The E15 postcode, which houses Maryland and Stratford stations, is getting an average rental yield of 4.8%. Southall, 4.8%, Forest Gate and Canary Wharf at 4.5%. Other stations to make it into the top 10 along the Elizabeth line at the moment include Whitechapel at 4.4%, Woolwich at 4.3%, Abbeywood at 4.3%, West Drayton at 4.3%, and Manor Park at 4.3%. Now, the reason I think this is kind of quite interesting is really just to kind of benchmark why this is a good yield. If you look at the yields in the W1 postcode, so Tottenham Court Road, Bond Street, Crossrail stations, these areas are generating an average rental yield of just 1.9%. So it really goes to show that actually, if you do a bit of homework, there is the ability to really eke out those rental yields by making a really wise investment decision. Now, the Mortgage Works have published a series of reports, which I know I always say this, but I find them so incredibly interesting because these are done on surveys directly with landlords, essentially. So 763, I think it was, landlords responded to this survey, and then the Mortgage Works assess and then publish the findings of the report. And again, the reason this is so interesting to me, and I'm sure you as well, because ultimately these are your peers, is it's very, very interesting to find out what other landlords are experiencing at the moment. I feel like being a landlord could be quite lonely. You're not in an office full of other landlords networking and stuff, so it's always good to hear what people across the whole country actually are feeling. So first of all, landlord outlook and confidence. So what they're saying is that perceptions of increasing tenant demand also continue to grow and now at an all-time high of 62%. However, despite the increase in perceived tenant demand, the incidence of voids edges up by plus 4% in Q1 2022. Now, I find that quite interesting because actually I was reading a RICS report only yesterday talking about the rental market. And what they were saying is that there are an increase in the number of people looking to rent properties of, I think it was 38% actually, it was huge. Whereas the number of new properties coming to the market to rent were down by like minus 11%. So the kind of gap between people looking to rent and available properties has kind of, got even bigger. So the fact that we're seeing an increase in voids I find quite surprising, but this is what the landlords are saying, so, who am I to argue? Now, in terms of expectations for the next 3 months, rated as either good or very good. So 56% expect or have feeling good about rental yields, 50% on capital gains, 46% as letting as a business, 34% are feeling good or very good about the private rental sector more generally, but only 12% are feeling good about the UK financial market. And the Mortgage Works did comment actually that the number of the confidence levels in the financial market has sort of taken a very sharp downward turn. I imagine that is owing to the expectation on interest rates going up, or obviously they have been going up, but further increases as well, and how this is impacting borrowing. Now, the Mortgage Works have also published their tenant demand report, and this includes a regional analysis, which is really interesting. So overall, there's a plus 59% increase in tenant demand. In quarter 22, 6 of the 11 standard regions in the UK England and Wales achieve a TDI score above the current UK average, which has reached an all-time high of plus 59%. So Central London currently achieves the highest TDI, tenant demand index score at plus 72%, closely followed by Wales at 70%, the South West at 67% and the North West at 66%. It's great to see London actually doing well in something for the rental market for a change, isn't it? The 5 regions that recorded a score that falls below the national average, most notably were the West Midlands and the North East. However, every single region has seen an increase in their TDI score, so really positive in terms of tenant demand across the whole country. Now, the other part of the report was a gross rental income analysis for Q1 2022. And really the key findings here was that the annual rental income per property is now sitting at £7,625. Increased rents in the last 12 months. The number of landlords who have increased their rents in the last 12 months is up 50%, and the number who are planning to increase rents in the coming 6 months, 42% of respondents. So, you know, there's actually, the rental income is definitely holding firm. Half of respondents have put their rents up, 42% are planning on increasing them in the next 6 months. That would be almost 100% across the piece. So it looks like rental yields are definitely on the increase. And that is everything from us this week. I'm sure I will be back discussing the Bank of England base rate going up again next week. It's not a question of if, it's really a question of how much. Most people are feeling fairly confident about a 0.25% increase. There are definitely people who are predicting a 0.5% increase as well. Like I mentioned at the start of this video, we are seeing lenders citing plans to increase rates next week. So look, I can't reiterate this enough, if you are in the market for a mortgage, if you've even got a remortgage that's due up in the next 7 months, you can book in rates now, so please do get in touch. We can help you. 0345 345 6788 or mortgagesforbusiness.co.uk. There's lots of information on our website. You can do a little online chat with us, submit inquiries, look at rates, all that kind of stuff, so do have a nose there. For now, I will leave you in peace. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will catch you again next time.